Hi Gemini, this is lunartickstarot with a reading for anyone who identifies with the twin energy during the end of July 2018. More specifically, we will look at the last 10 days that we are into now. I'm sure for some Geminis, the reading will be applicable to the entirety of July, and then for others, there's always the possibility that it will not resonate at all. It is a possibility, and you can always check out your sun, moon, and rising signs, as well as any other energy that interests you at any particular time, really. Any other placement, maybe your North Node or your Venus, along with any area of your birth chart that is of interest to you. So if you don't know about the rest of your birth chart and you'd like to, if you feel called to learn about that, check out astro.com. There is a link to that site in the description of this video, and there you will also find information about the personal readings that I do. I feel like this is your reading, Gemini. The first 8 cards anyway. There are some Geminis right now who are going through major, important work-life transformations, starting a business, moving a business, hiring all new employees, changing careers, something of that nature, something related to completely shedding one way of working, one way or place. For a lot of you, it's a type of work. You're getting rid of a career and starting your own business or something like that. And I didn't see a ton of Geminis resisting the transformation, but I do think that it's going to be difficult for many of those Geminis. And the message was that a transformation, if you know in your bones that this transformation needs to happen, if you want it to happen, it is happening. A transformation will happen is the message, regardless of one way or the other. So what's happening, the major work-life transformation, even some of those that don't seem as major to the person going through them, it's fated, and it has to happen in order for you to either master your material world, financial life, the way you are meant to, supposed to, and or serve your community the way that you are meant to. So if you don't shed the way or place or style of work that you are doing, even though you want to, because you feel obligated to, I don't know, a contract, a company, clients, if you don't, a place that you're living, if you have to move, but if you don't go with the transformation and shed the way that doesn't work for you anymore, that doesn't really fit you anymore, then you will transform. You will become, a version of yourself that makes the best of not doing the work that you really feel called to do for whatever reason. The version of yourself that makes the best of continuing on with work that really feels more like an obligation to a certain extent, or just isn't what you mean to continue doing. And that message won't be for all Geminis, of course. So we have almost the whole reading out. I'll let you see. Let's see. And it looks like with the, there we go, Justice card on the bottom of the deck. So possibly a significant Libra. Possibly a significant Libra. This is what goes unseen from this picture. What's hidden or what we don't see about this situation. You have the Three of Wands covering you. So that is a project that you are very invested in. I want to say a very complicated and complex project of sorts that you are invested in, that you are very passionate about. Sometimes this does show up as a pregnancy card. I don't feel that right now. We do have 3 and 3, if 33 is of significance to you, Gemini. I don't actually think that that is, I don't see a three-party situation, and like I said, I don't really see a pregnancy this time with it. I think the Three of Wands is a project you're passionate about. I think it's connected to your spirituality, whether that's on your conscious level or not. Certainly the benefits of seeing the project through and seeing it come to fruition the way you're hoping that it will. Is a spiritual event for you. And then you're crossed with celebration, with collaboration. Okay, so I think it's, we don't have the Three of Pentacles here, but I do think it's something, it's a project you're very invested in. It does require collaboration of sorts, and it's enjoyable. It's fun. You have a little bit of anxiety surrounding how it will turn out, where it's going, and that's what's on your mind. The project is already established. You have much to feel confident about. You often, at times, Gemini, do feel very confident about it, particularly, I think, when you are in the collaboration process, sharing the successes, the wins of the progress of the process with those you're collaborating with, or just those close to you. But you're still in the planning stages when your ego is quiet. Outside of the celebration, there's a little bit of anxiety about where it's going, about where the project is going, and so you're still planning. Maybe still questioning the first step of the plan that you've already taken. And you know, we're about to officially enter Mercury retrograde period. I mean, that's not the way to say that. Like Mercury, we've been feeling Mercury retrograde in its shadow period, right, for a while, as I understand it. And now it officially goes retrograde on the 26th, I believe. So we're looking at what you're heading, what energies you're feeling heading toward that and following that too. And then of course there's also the full moon lunar eclipse in Aquarius on the 27th, right? I think that's right. So it makes sense that you're going back over steps that you've already taken. And that's fine, even if you've already established things, you're questioning it, you're going back over whatever decision's been made, possibly. If not, certainly already thinking about plans for the next steps that you'll take. And you've got the Fool card, the Ten of Swords, and the Three of Cups again, showing up as clarifiers now. So I think this project is something that's in an area that's brand new to you, Gemini, that flows right in line with the message I got from before recording and trying to connect with the Gemini energy, which I should and usually can do to an extent, as my Mars and Jupiter are both in Gemini. And I have an air moon. And then, so yeah, so that falls in line with the message of it being maybe a new business or leaving a career and starting, some type of new work, possibly your own business, yes. I think it's something that's brand new to you. And you might see something different here, and that's why I like to flip it around to you, really. But I see that it's a brand new type of work, a brand new area. It is your spirituality, and you're working on self-development in that area, and that's new to you, but it's a fresh beginning in some sort. Of some sort. And this is either echoing that you need to really be done. The Ten of Swords showing up as a clarifier on what we've already talked about so far is either echoing that you really need to be done with whatever work you are leaving behind, as the Fool is walking away from that defeated body there. Seemingly defeated, we'll say. Or it's saying, maybe could be saying you need to be done with these plans, questioning the plans like we were talking about. Or both. It could be one and the same. Maybe the first step was leaving that work behind, and you need to quit questioning that step. At least move on to plans for the next steps if you're going to stay planning. But those, and this is what when your ego is quiet. That's in your higher thoughts. Your higher thoughts are on those plans. You're capable of, and currently on some level you are creating an original vision, and it is creating your destiny for you. So whatever that takes you away from, I mean, you have powerful potential to create the future and life that you want, and that's what you should, those are the plans that you should, that's what your higher mind is on. So allow your conscious mind to circulate on those type of plans too. And anything that you need to be done with, to walk away from in order to make that happen, it's just a matter of time, right? Maybe it is this group that you're collaborating with. Maybe this is too much celebrating and drinking. Maybe that group, you know, isn't going to continue benefiting your project or plans. Maybe it's some addiction like drinking, or drinking itself that isn't going to continue benefiting these plans, this project. And or maybe it's again, like I said, the old job, career, whatever you had to leave behind work-wise, and it can be all the above. So then the Knight of Swords being what this is all rooted in, you know, the Knight of Swords, the Eight of Swords came out as I'm talking about that, or starting to. The Knight of Swords is, he can be, he or she, but, you know, think of it as a young-ish masculine energy normally. Excuse me. He has conviction, but he can be hasty. He's determined. I always have to consider, sometimes for me does indicate someone who meditates frequently, as opposed to charging in thought and in idea and in words, communication. So this is all rooted in you I think rushing yourself to an extent. The Eight of Swords indicates that, you know, that you're in the root of the situation. You were trapped by your own thoughts. But the foundation, you know, that could be as long ago as your childhood, or just sometimes it's even more recent than the recent past. It can be. It's just the cause, the foundation of the situation. There is some type of hasty communication, but it really can just be hasty thought. And I really think it was right now, I'm stuck on the belief that this represents you in the foundation of this situation thinking rashly and latching on to a thought and allowing it to formulate or encourage or cement almost a limiting belief. And it really could have just been a thought that you allowed to pass like a cloud, and, you know, but at the time, again, this is the foundation of the situation we're talking about, but at the time, you know, you were trapped by limiting beliefs, I see here. So maybe indicates that you stayed in that job too long, whatever too long is. We'll see what else unfolds. It had something to do with you not wanting to, not being able to see what you were being offered because you were so focused on what you couldn't have. So you also have 44 here now. You've got 2 4s, 33 and 44. And, you know, everything's upright. You know, there's celebration, success, planning, potential, creativity, spirituality, passion projects that we're invested in, security, grounded, happy home, only the fear of not being emotionally fulfilled, peace, fast movement. I mean, it's all good. So maybe I just shouldn't harp on figuring out how it, you know, in the root of the situation, you weren't wanting to focus on maybe being offered this opportunity, this time. You were bound by whatever beliefs you had about having to stay in some other work you were doing, maybe, or something, some other commitment, maybe. But, you know, like I said, everything looks good, so hopefully that's just energy that's, you know, you've just left behind. Left behind. And yeah, Mercury retrograde can be making some of us do that as well, revisiting. We could be revisiting those decisions, revisiting why in those times. And, you know, sometimes you take a look at your past and just go, yep, I did do that, and I am glad I did that. So in your more recent past, like I said, you have the 4 of Wands. Oh, you have 3 4s now. So you have 33, and then you have 4 4 4. So in the recent past, you had a grounded, happy, comfortable home, life, family life, and then we've got unrequited love or resisting letting love in or sharing, and healing as clarifiers. So maybe it was a grounded, happy home with just you and or friends and family where you were healing and weren't really ready for, you know, any type of relationship, or, you know, could have been heartbreak from anything and just keeping you, I don't want to say closed off, but just not ready to let something new in. But you still had a grounded, happy, comfortable home, and, you know, that makes sense. You know, that's the perfect environment to get a passion project going, keep a passion project going, right? You were in a healing place, closing the gates on love for a minute, or on sharing intensely with others, and just were working on something that fulfilled you, that you love to do. Sorry about that. I swear I wasn't having these throat problems before I started recording. I would have waited. Okay, so in your future, you've got success. Now, there's still work to be done. It's the kind of success that shows that, yes, there's still work to be done, but success nonetheless. It is, it looks like this project that you're having a little bit of anxiety about, that's in an area that's brand new for you, that you're combing over the plans for and envisioning your own future about. It looks like, it's sure to grow. In the near future, you'll see that it is sure to grow. And in your inner world, you just need to, well, I'm not going to tell you what you need to do, but the reading, the cards are suggesting that in your inner world, at the end of July, you will move into a space of restful contemplation. It has something to do with something that you're having trouble walking away from. So again, maybe that job, whatever commitment that you're still poring over, you're going to move into a meditative space. So, you're going to make time for solemn meditation. You'll find yourself looking inwardly to, like I said, see that vision and try to let go of anything that's standing in the way of it. I mean, it's your original, authentic creation and destiny, and you're having trouble walking away from a place, people, whatever it takes you away from. Or maybe it could be an unrequited love, since you have the Three of Swords in reverse and the Ace of Cups in reverse up here. It's possible there are both messages here. There are both scenarios. Some of you are having, trouble focusing on this that you are so passionate about and hoping to see grow, as you are very invested in it. And others of you are, having trouble focusing because of romantic heartbreak, loss of sorts, and just doubting yourself. And others, it's a matter of having had to walk away from, like I said, clients or contracts or another place of business or whatever security your last job offered you, whatever that was. But in your outer world, it's creating peace for you. So I think that's why you take it upon yourself, probably at the end of July, to find time and space for that solemn meditation, and to remember to, in that space, also show gratitude, of course, for all that it has afforded you, this change, this switch. And I think that's peace. I think your environment, your attitude, the way you're interacting with the world, and the way people are viewing you is much more peaceful, is free of ego drama that was in that other work environment, or again, maybe a partner, if that's what has broken your heart about your recent happy home. So then the fear that you're feeling about not being emotionally fulfilled, I need a clarifier on. I mean, that could only be connected to maybe thinking that this project, that this work won't, well, the Ten of Cups again. So now you have 44433, and you've also got 1010. Things to look up if you're interested. I've looked them all up myself. I feel like they're so similar to me. They just make me feel like I'm on the right path. But they are slightly different, and there are just so many of them popping up for me all the time that I can't tell you specifically what's different. There are things for you to look up if you're interested. But to me, all the duplicates in this reading, in this instance for you, it's emphasizing to me that, like I said, this is fated. I do think it's connected to the messages I got for you before recording. And it's just, it's an ending and a beginning that has to happen. It's not just for you. You're meant to do things for other people. What you need to end and walk away from varies from Gemini to Gemini. I think you're afraid. You're going to find the answers in this meditative space. I think you're afraid that this ending whatever you're walking away from, whatever you're shedding, whatever has to end in order for you to have this new beginning with this life that you're more invested in, that you're more passionate about, that's calling to you now, even if the life you had called to you before. In order for you to pursue that, whatever you're having to shed, it's making you fear that you're not going to be able to be happy without it, whether it's a person or people that you feel like you're letting down by leaving behind. That's quite possible. I mean, it does happen for people that they literally don't have time or money to have the relationship they want to have. I mean, that happens. They don't, or they have friends and family who do not support and understand and care about the new business or just new type of work that they are trying to do. Seeking financial independence is time-consuming and all-encompassing, and for some of us, it comes down to having to keep a day job for a while we get a new business off the ground, right? So it could be a scenario like that, and that doesn't leave a lot of time for socializing, even with family members, and that can leave you in a place where a lot of people don't understand, and you may feel like a lot of people don't understand. A lot of people around you that you are normally close with don't understand and don't forgive you for the time that they want to spend with you, and it's really hard to tell people, no, not next week, not next month, maybe next year, or maybe the year after that. Like, I'm going to be grinding for a while, and you don't necessarily need to be done socializing, right? You don't necessarily need to be finished, scheduling the people who do support you and that you do jive with and who do build you up. It's not like you need to be cutting all that out of your calendar, but if you go out drinking and it steals 2 or 3 days from you because of recouping and maybe getting talked into a second night, or what have you, whatever happens, and you're struggling for time, you might want to cut that. Like I said, there's multiple messages from multiple Geminis here. I do hope that something's come through for us. And you've got 5-5, so I don't know. There's just so many. There are so many now. 5-5, 4-4-4, 3-3, 10-10. And see, okay, so the Hermit came out as another clarifier on the Ten of Cups. This to me, I think you're really afraid of this cycle ending, though it's fated. You're either afraid, because it already makes your home unhappy, or you're just afraid it will. You're afraid you won't be able to replace that support. And like I said, the Hermit showing up here, like I said, going within and going into that meditation space, even though that seems like such a cheap answer to say you have the answer, that is always the answer. But that echoes, like I said, that going into that meditation space is what's going to help you with not being able to let the old go. It has to be shed. What's going to happen if you don't? For those Geminis who are considering just not going through a transformation that in their soul they know needs to happen, what's going to happen is, that life that you don't really want to be leading, or that calling that you're ignoring, it will get to you. So, like I said in the beginning, you will become a version of yourself who is tolerating or making the best of what you've decided to stay in that doesn't fit you any longer. And even if you're making the best of it, that way of life, that way of working, those attitudes that don't fit you, those vibes that don't fit you, those beliefs that aren't yours, will start to infect you over time. You will not be the same person that you would be if you were honoring that calling. And I'm not saying that most Geminis are going to let this fear control them, but it is a deep, real fear that only you can address by going within. You have to know that if all of these people don't support or understand or vibrate with what, if they aren't okay with what brings you happiness and peace, everything will be all right anyway. You will all naturally gravitate toward and magnetize energies that do drive with you, that do support you, that do elevate you, encourage you, help progress you, help evolve you. In the outcome of the situation, you've got the Eight of Wands. So, to a certain extent, I think that's indicating that this is changing quickly. Progress is being made that is changing this scene swiftly, right? So we are just looking at the last 10 days. I do think that this is honing in then on the last 10 days specifically. And this new moon, full moon eclipse in Aquarius, in one way or another, is going to complete the cycles that need to be completed and is going to strip us of the things that need to be stripped. It's probably the truest, most significant thing that I've said for you all, and it's nothing that we don't, most of us all know, right? That just will happen. And I really feel like the Four of Wands, or I'm sorry, the Four of Swords showing up in the upright in your inner world is saying that, Geminis, you are really, really trying. You know, though you are struggling to let go, you are doing the work, going within, embodying the Sage's energy, showing gratitude for where you're at, the battles you've won, the trials you have overcome, what you've learned. Oh, that's two. That's one too many. You doing the self-reflection work that is, you know, that is clear. Oh no, that is clearly required to move forward. You know what needs to happen. You're just still struggling with letting whatever it is go, whomever it is, and you're trying. You are examining your inner and outer world. Continuing healing. You've been healing. You're continuing healing. I mean, life is one long healing journey, but it's been a particular focus for you recently, and it continues on. And you're willing to do that work. And it requires solitude. Maybe some of what some of you are resisting, but it requires it anyway. Again, you're willing. And that is not to say, I said the eclipse is going to strip us of anything that needs to be stripped and complete any, full moon will complete any cycles that need to be completed. But that is not to say that all Geminis who are having trouble letting go of something will go within and find that the decision is, yes, I am letting go of that thing, that person. That's not to say that that will be the decision across the board for all Geminis either. If it's not a Libra, as what's unseen here on the bottom of the deck, if it isn't a Libra, then it could be, then what I see there is precise and impartial truth, cutting away the untrue, balancing karma. So it could be dependent on, whether or not this person, these people, this way of life is something that's untrue for you or has been untrue to you. As your karma is balanced as what you know is precisely true, cuts away the untrue. Is it are these energies, or is it an energy that needs to be cut, deserves to be cut? Okay, there's the counselor again. I think the King of Water will look. That's your advice card. And then the Sage, so the Hermit twice. Well, this deck's a little different, but I think of the Hermit as a Sage, and this is the Sage card in the Dreams of Gaia Tarot. And, you know, imprecise and impartial truth is what creates that peace for you. And I think this swift movement, or this swift action, communication, decision, stripping away of old things, completing of cycles at the end of this month, is what, you know, is what brings you peace and a victory of sorts. You know, definitely a victory, although one that, you know, probably humbles us. So the Counselor, I do think that's the King of Water. I could be wrong. Let me see. Empathetic, wise, objective. No, this is like, so this is the equivalent to the Knight of Cups. Not the equivalent. That's not how I should say it, but in the traditional tarot, it would pretty much be the Knight of Cups. But in the Dreams of Gaia tarot, it is the 12 of Water, the Counselor. Empathetic, wise, objective advice, trustworthy, emotional, understanding, clarity, sharing. The Counselor of Water represents one who stands high, an elder, advisor, or wise man or woman whom the king or queen calls upon to discuss their feelings regarding a situation or experience of concern. Okay, so the advice card could be saying that you may need some professional advice, right? She or he is someone who is trusted. They are a caring, compassionate person who will listen attentively, only interrupting the flow to ask a question if there is need. And, or, you know, suggesting that this as an advice card, you know, could be suggesting that you approach a situation from this type of perspective, right? Or that these are the type of energies that you want to invite around you. Let's see. She or he is an empathetic person skilled at stepping outside of themselves to look through the eyes of others, never judging, offering compassion. By asking the right questions, she helps people to come to their own conclusions about what feels right for them and how to proceed from that point. Symbolizes a need to be empathetic. It indicates that you're dealing with an emotionally complex situation. And again, like I said, with the Hermit and the Four of Wands, or Swords rather, showing up, I just really think that you know how it needs to be handled. It doesn't mean that it's not a struggle, but you do know, you know exactly what you need to do. And I see you doing that work and turning inward at the end of July. If you are feeling reactive or challenged, talking it through might help you to make sense of your feelings and provide you with answers. If you cannot look beyond the words being spoken to see the emotions behind them, the counselor asks that you seek out the wisdom of someone who can. So that I really do think that, you know, that's an important piece of advice here. That's not to say you know, it needs to be a reading from me. That's not at all what we're saying here, but that seems I really feel like that's your advice. Doesn't mean that it has to be a service that you pay for from anyone at all. I mean, people like me come to work like this after having realized that, you know, wow, I've been the shoulder to cry on and giving advice of this nature for years, just listening and incidentally channeling, etc. Um, just you know, as a part of my personality within my friend groups and my family, etc. So look around. You know, who do you talk to about things like that? Who can you share this with? Family members, friends. Free hotlines if you don't want to tell anyone that you know, if it's, you know, something private like that. But it seems like it might be something that you need to talk out, if not talk, write out. Listen to YouTube videos, read books. You know, you can seek advice of people of this nature, who know, who have studied what it is you're looking into, or know what they're talking about. And have different perspectives to offer you without interacting with them, right? You can just listen and read and learn from them that way. It seems like that might end up being what's necessary. So, all that said, I do hope, Gemini, that you are leaving this reading with something you didn't come to it with, and yeah. I hope it offered you help. There's so much here. I'm sort of combing over and making sure there wasn't a card that I skipped. I think we covered everything. So thank you so much to all of you who have contributed to the channel, just for checking the channel out, honestly. But thank you for all of the likes, shares, comments, subscribes, donations, messages, emails, personal reading requests. I am accepting requests for free personal readings. So right now, those are taking at least a couple weeks for me to get back to you, but I'm really excited to be able to do the free readings, and am still able to make some free time for them. That turnaround time is only going up. Obviously, it's at least 2 weeks to get your reading right now. But I also have paid reading options. If you're interested, all that information is in the description box below. Those you can get within 72 hours of your payment. So starting in August, I think that's probably going to change to 3 business days, but for now it's still 72 hours. And August readings will be posted as soon as possible. Like I said already, you will be in the first half of those readings for sure. And please do like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell if you want to know when I post my videos. And I do hope that you all make very wise choices throughout the rest of July and going into August. I will try to post another reading or 2 for all the signs before the end of the month, as well as get ahead on your August readings. And I believe that's everything, Gemini. I love you, Geminis, and I will be back with another reading for you very soon.